just flies, isn't it? 11:33 is our time now, and we're talking about basically our platforms like TikTok and Instagram harming our attention spans. What do you think? Join us live on Facebook and YouTube as we dive into this topic. Now, we are living in a world where it is like scroll first kind of world, where we have a few seconds, and that few seconds can actually decide whether something is worth our attention or instantly skipped. From quick responses to 30 seconds life advice, platforms like TikTok and Instagram have completely changed the way we consume content. Everything is faster, shorter, and designed to keep us constantly engaged. But here's the question we want to ask you. What do you think? What is all of this doing to our minds? Now, to help us with this question and to understand what's actually going on cognitively, we are joined now by an expert, Maulana Bilal Kathrada, no stranger to urban women and the airwaves of Radio Al Ansar. He's a software engineer, lecturer, author, entrepreneur, and public speaker, also founder of IT Varsity and CompuKids. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Maulana. Welcome back to Urban Women.
Alaikum salam, and once again, Jazakallah for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure having you. Now, platforms, as I mentioned, like TikTok and Instagram are incredibly engaging. What is it about their design or algorithms that actually keeps users hooked for hours? Because we can take the phone, we think we're just going to sit for 5 minutes, we scroll, and before we know it, hours have just passed by.
I actually can understand what you're saying, that, hours go by without us even realizing. But we must understand there are a few things that are working to make this platform or to make this content so appealing that we don't even sense time is passing by. One is the structure of the app itself. The simplicity with which we can use these apps just by using the thumb to scroll, that simplicity itself is very alluring. Then you've got the content. The content is designed in many cases to to grab your attention. They call that the hook, right? In marketing and content creation spaces, they call that the hook. Come up with something in the first few seconds that's so appealing that people they want to see. Then you'll notice also in the design of many videos, they use lots of jump cuts, like little bits of information and jump cuts. That's also very appealing from a mental sort of enjoyment perspective, because it's refreshing every few seconds and it's a little bit of information easy to take in. It's basically the junk food equivalent of a mental activity. So it's like when you're eating a packet of very delicious chips. Once you open one and you eat it, then you want to eat more and more. So it's continuous. Then you've got the final thing, which is, well, lots of things, but one other thing is that we need to be careful of is this feedback loop. You see, when you start scrolling, the app has AI built in that is actually learning your habits to see what are you enjoying more than others. So have you used this? Have you watched this certain video completely, or have you watched for 5 seconds or 10 seconds? It's timing all of that. And the videos that you watch more frequently, it will give you more of that content. Why? Because it knows that you are enjoying that content. So it's feeding into that pleasure that you are having watching this content. So all of that together, it releases this dopamine in the brain. It makes it exciting, and you feel like doing this more. And that's how it becomes addictive over a period of time, because our brains love that dopamine, right?
So that's very interesting what you're saying. We can understand that, because the moment you hit on one video, next thing you see, there's another video following, and there's another one, and it just keeps on going. So then, are these apps intentionally engineered to be addictive, or are they simply responding to our user behavior or demand?
I think it's a bit of both, right? Because if you look at the apps in terms of their business model, the economy behind these apps, what is the whole objective? It's exactly what you said earlier on, to keep you locked in for hours at a time, because that's how they get the eyeballs, and the eyeballs means money. So they make their revenue through advertising, and the longer they keep you hooked, then there's the revenue flowing in. Imagine if everybody, tomorrow morning, everybody got bored of Instagram and stopped using it. How would Instagram make any money? It's a free app. They don't charge you for using it. They don't charge you for uploading any content. Their revenue is your attention. The second thing is the persuasive nature of the design of the app itself. Like I say, the ease of use, the simplicity with using those buttons, the like button, and how it lights up. Those things are all very appealing. And then finally, as I said, it's that AI that's built in, that it feeds you more of what you are enjoying seeing. So it knows what you are enjoying. It knows that you enjoy certain type of content. So it just keeps putting that. That's what I call slave to the algorithm. When you become a slave to that algorithm and letting it decide for you what you want to see. So yeah, there is a bit of deliberate design, but it's also us, right? We sometimes, knowing what's good for us, we still tend to go down into things that are not that good for us. For example, as much as we know, and you probably have people talking about different types of food, junk food versus nutritious food, but we still find ourselves eating junk food, right? For whatever reason, as human beings. So do we blame the food itself? Do we blame the eater? I don't know. You tell me.
That's a very good question. It always comes down to us. And sometimes that's why I think jihad of the nafs, because we have to constantly go within and fight this and do the decisiveness. Like, what am I doing? Live mindfully, bringing that consciousness. Otherwise, it's just so easy to get pulled in. At my practice, I use this analogy like a vacuum, because we just get sucked into it, not just with social media, but even with other people's judgments and so forth. Now, Malana, is there a noticeable difference in attention span between people who frequently consume short form content and those who don't?
There's a massive difference. I've read psychology papers. I've listened to teachers. I've spoken to teachers who say, attention spans are dropping. It's almost as if we're saying that this is some kind of natural evolution of people's minds. It's not that. It's just that the minds, especially of children, are used to receiving stimulus every 5 to 15 seconds. So every 5 to 15 seconds, you're getting something new, a new surprise. With every swipe, there's a new surprise. There's a new potentially good and entertaining piece of content that you're going to face. That excitement builds in. So what happens is that we're training the mind to be used to nothing more than 15 seconds or 30 seconds, and to move on when you start getting bored. It's so easy. Just swipe and you're gone, right? That's why a lot of people say, listening to some Maulanas in the masjid giving bayan, I wish I could swipe them out. Not a nice thing to say, but that's the mindset that's there. It's not the patience of waiting for that introduction to end and to get to the point, to the crescendo, to get to the meat of it. We don't have that patience. If it's not delivered in the first 5 seconds, I'm gone. I got no patience for you. So when we expose children to that too much, then we naturally, I won't say we're reducing their attention spans, but rather we are making them used to a very short attention span, so that if you speak to them for anything more than 2 minutes, they just can't concentrate on what you're saying. But if you have to, it's reversible. And if you have to reverse it, we'll see that attention spans can be lengthened now to more than 2 minutes. But it's this stimulus, this constant stimulus, 5-10 second stimulus, that's actually causing us to become so used to that we lose tolerance for anything that's longer than that. A long talk or an article or reading a book, zero tolerance for that.
Chile is actually highlighting something for me. It's almost like we become impatient, irritable, like just get on with it. And it goes against the teaching of Islam, which is all about sabr. And the more we do something, the more the neural pathways gets formed on that. So, neuroplasticity, which then you highlighted that it can be changed. So because our brains are actually, it's plastic, so we can change that. So share with us, before we go into understanding what's really happening and how we can change that, what long-term impact could this then have on learning, memory, and also academic performance?
Well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? When a child has, it has this addiction to short form 10, 15 seconds, highly stimulating, flash photography type of content, how would that mind that is used to all that respond to sitting and reading a book or to listening to a dry lecture on accounting or on software development or I don't know, astrophysicist talks? You can see, it's very apparent that when the mind is used to that kind of high stimulation, it becomes extremely difficult to focus on anything. And worse still, I mean, you mentioned the Islamic lessons, reading the Quran, reading Salat. It's like a lot of people, they tell me, I just started my Salat and I made Salam and I don't know what happened in between. Did I read 4? Did I read 2? Perhaps I read 3. I don't know how many I read. It's because that mind disengages. The moment you try to apply it into something, it disengages and it starts to wander off into a safe zone. You start thinking about all those videos you watched. While you're trying to read a textbook or you're trying to read your Salat, you're trying to read your Quran, your mind is there on that short form content. That is highly, extremely detrimental for our spiritual well-being, for our education, you name it. It's something that we have to deal with extreme urgency.
I don't think that anything that has been designed in our current times, especially where we understand that we are at the end of times, is done coincidentally. So I think the battle is harder because we're all getting consumed by it. We can't really escape it. But share with us, Maulana, looking ahead, how do you think attention spans will continue to decline, or will we adapt to this new way of consuming information? What's your thoughts about this?
That's a deep question, and it's something that we have to go back to Islam and Islamic teachings to understand better. When you look at the teachings of people like Imam Ghazali, rahmatullah alayh, he said even in his time 1,000 years ago, what is missing in society is that people are so engaged with the frivolous that they lose this awareness of time passing. In other words, there's no presence. You got people that are existing like zombies with glazed eyes and moving through their lives. And we say, it's already April. Time is going past so fast. It's none of that. It's an illusion because half your day is spent totally absorbed into that screen, totally disengaged from the world around you. And it's like you said earlier, you just look in there and you start scrolling and next minute hours are gone by. That's what's creating this illusion of time going past so fast. It's creating the illusion of time, of no barakah in time. It's none of that. It's just that we are not utilizing the time. We are not present. Even when we are with our families, I mean, you've seen it, the listeners have seen it. You go to a restaurant, whole family is there, all got their devices in front of them. The family time is gone. That meal that should have been an hour or 2 hours is 2 minutes or 2 seconds because you're looking at the screen, you're out. So I think what we need to do is to take responsibility firstly for ourselves as human beings, because this is not just about our well-being in the world. It's a spiritual thing. It's part of our religion that you read your salat, how it comes in the hadith of Umar radiallahu anhu, "U'budullah ka'annaka tarah," as if you can see Allah Ta'ala. So now you're standing there and you're reading a salat in front of His Majesty, but now you're thinking about something you saw on Instagram, something you saw on TikTok, something you saw on YouTube, and your mind is engrossed. Come on, what a what a injustice that is. So we need to take responsibility, stop blaming. It's the same with everything, Razia. I mean, we have agency, we have the power to control these things. Improve your salat, improve your health, take a walk daily, become fit, read something valuable, read a hadith a day to your family, read from the Quran, read from the tafsir. So many things we can do, but we are not doing, and we say, well, it's a technology to blame. That is kind of a cop-out, if you ask me.
out, isn't it, Malana? We're always ready to blame everybody else and everything outside of us, but essentially we know it always comes back within us. We thank you so much for your time. Jazakallah
An
khair.
absolute,
There's
an
so
absolute
much we can
pleasure.
obviously go on, but due to time, I'm going to have to wrap up here. One thing I must say that I'm very fascinated. You use the term eyeballs, and every time I'm going to be scrolling, watching social media, I'm going to be thinking, here's the eyeballs. This is the revenue, actually, and become more conscious and mindful, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for your time. Until we connect again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
And that was Maulana Bilal Kathrada, who's a software engineer, lecturer, author, entrepreneur, and public speaker, and founder of IT Varsity and CompuKids. We was chatting about our platforms like TikTok and Instagram harming our attention span. That is indeed a rhetorical question because we can see the effect it's having on you and I as well as on our kids. It's 11:49. We'll go for a quick break. When we get back, I'm going to be talking about that very exciting event that's coming up that I wanted to just blurt out and share with you, but I couldn't because I had to wait for my colleagues. But that's coming up in a few minutes after the break. Stay tuned to Urban Woman with me, Razia Rangwich. I'll be back shortly.
Rasul